Greetings and welcome back to room 303 in our chats with Emily. This is poem number 8 of the 1,775 poems of the Johnson edition. And here we have another poem of Emily's for Susan Gilbert, her pal, who would ultimately become the wife of her brother Austin. Now we have over 500 different types of writing samples from Emily to Sue and the like. 400 poems that Emily sent to Sue. So there's a tremendous amount of exchange that's going on, and we're gonna marvel at this poem and the idea of loss and the way in which Emily is able to express the profound sense of loss. It's quite remarkable. Now our assumptions are that you've been following our stuff at learnstrong.net down that left-hand side, our chats with Emily, our playlist, and that there is an introductory set of comments I'm hopeful that you already have exposed yourself to, and then we just finished, of course, with poem number 7. The Feet of the People. Now, poem number 8, in terms of background information, is going to be encapsulated with the last word. She does this often, where the last word of her little poems are going to be so important. And here, of course, it's the idea of forgot. Now, the notion that maybe the loss of a friend is going to be central to this will make this a poem having all kinds of implications. Poem 8. There is a word which bears a sword, can pierce an armed man. It hurls its barbed syllables and is mute again. But where it fell, the saved will tell on patriotic day, some epauletted brother gave his breath away. Wherever runs the breathless sun, wherever roams the day, there is its noiseless onset, there is its victory. Behold, the keenest marksman, the most accomplished shot, time's sublimest target is a soul forgot. Now it is intriguing that this poem, we believe somewhere around 1858 is written. Sue marries Austin, actually. Sue Gilbert marries Austin the 1st of July 1856, 2 years earlier. So think about the power of that fact, the loss maybe of the friendship that she feels, Emily feels. Notice there is a word that will be the last word of the poem, the word forgot. And this use of the word makes us immediately think of the idea of logos, makes us think about John chapter 1. In the beginning was the word. Think about the power of Hebrews 4:12. The word of God is sharper than any two-edged sword. So notice there is a word which bears a sword, can pierce an armed man. She says of this word that it hurls its barbed syllables. Now, we're going to meet poem 92 and 479. Just let's at least give our first introduction to poem 92. My friend must be a bird because it flies. Mortal my friend must be because it dies. Barbs has it like a bee. Oh, curious friend, thou puzzlest me. And then poem number 479, again, speaking of Sue. She dealt her pretty words like blades, how glittering they shone, and every one unbarred a nerve or wanted with a bone. She never deemed the hurt that is not steel's affair, a vulgar grimace in the flesh, how ill the creatures bear. To ache is human, not polite, the film upon the eye, mortality's old custom, just locking up to die. This idea that a word could be spoken or not spoken, the word forgot in this case, and it would completely devastate Emily. It hurls its barbed syllables and is mute again. We're going to go to the noiseless onset here in the second stanza. And where it fell, the saved, that is to say the not forgotten, will tell on patriotic day. Some epauletted brother, of course, the decoration on the shoulder. This would, of course, be Emily gave his breath away. You'll think about poem number 67, Success is counted sweetest by those who ne'er succeed. Go and look at that last set of words. Not one who took the flag today can tell. As one defeated dying, so this idea of loss. And then the second stanza, wherever runs the breathless sun, wherever roams the day, there is its noiseless onset. That is to say, the word forgot. There is its victory. We're back, of course, to the image of the battle. Behold the keenest marksman. Notice all these exclamation points. The most accomplished shot. Time's sublimest target is a soul forgot. Well, what are we going to do with a set of lines like this at 2A? Well, I think the argument that Emily is making, and it's so much about the human condition, is The worst feeling is the notion of the feeling that somehow one is forgotten by a pal. And what that means. At 2B, the word picture of battles, we're going to see this throughout a lot of our study of Emily. At 3A, of course, poems 92 and 479. But I would like to take us for a moment back to our study of St. Augustine's Confessions. You'll remember it in passage 4:4, when the passing of his pal, you'll remember this, Nabidrius, and Nabidrius dies, and it just devastates Augustine. It's some of the most compelling reading, as we commented at learnstrong.net when we did Confessions. And I think that there's something like that standing here. Is this a little bit melodramatic? Yeah, maybe. Although, I think what Emily is trying to show us is the power of loss, the profound power of loss, and the ways in which it's so difficult to get over it. Is she actually asking, have you forgotten me? Is that what's going on here? And that takes us to 3B. What was a time that you did feel forgotten? That you did feel that a close pal had forgotten you? Or what was a time that maybe you forgot a pal? I've had students that read this poem and immediately send a text to their pal and say, I just want you to know I haven't forgotten you. We haven't spoken for a while, but I haven't forgotten you. I think that's a useful way to read an Emily Dickinson poem, is to ask, how can it speak to me right here, right now? Thank you.